I guess he
Okay.
was never like officially arrested. Um, which, whatever. I guess that's better than being arrested. But like, we're still like detained. So for doing nothing wrong, mind you, and literally just trying to ask a question.
Yeah.
And then I guess I heard there was he said, didn't he come out and speak about it or something?
I have not seen anything there. I
Gotcha.
have not taken a look since I've been busy. So I may be
Okay.
relying a little bit on your expertise here while doing some research in the background. But Ben Shapiro has a Ben Shapiro reacts segment about this. So he's definitely going to have some fun things to say at the very least.
All right. Can I take a break for just a second, actually?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Breaks
I'll
are
be right back.
breaks are perfectly valid and also evil, and you're not allowed to take them. And don't unionize.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I will definitely not do that. Um, and I will leave you on for my chat, and I'll be right back.
Gotcha.
He's trying to take the piss and own like being a disgusting freak,
Yeah.
but like he lives with roaches. He is one of them.
And so
He's the
now
roach king. So like if you call other people roaches,
you're just calling them your subjects. Nyara, I'm sorry. That means that you're a subject of Asmongold, which means you need to incite democracy in his kingdom so that he can be deposed.
true.
That's what you do.
Or pull a Luffy and like just overthrow the kingdom entirely.
Yeah, Nyaroach just coming in, puts on a straw hat, dun 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 dun.
Somebody asked if Nyara Roach asks to be stepped on.
Wait, Nyara, do you need steppies? I mean, if you're a roach, do you need steppies?
Stop.
Do you need steppies?
Oh my god. This is what happens when you sponsor a fucking BDSM website.
No, they sponsor me.
Sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Accepting a sponsor from a BDSM. Well, isn't it literally like a DDLG website too?
DDLGplayground.com, and you can use coupon code Suris to get 20% off. I think it's 10% off now. 10% off any order, and then I get a kickback from that.
I know I got people in my audience who would like that. You can't hide.
You can't hide,
me,
but you can go to that website and you can get something to go fuck yourself.
True. Also, just real quick before we start the Ben Shapiro thing,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to ignore you, Saka Tanuki. He did link the thing that he was talking about.
Okay, can you throw that in our DMs?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on with it. I have no idea who Cardamom is, so.
Jessa says if you want to get stepped on, go to ddlgplayground.com and use coupon code Suris at checkout. Yeah, see, that's what you do.
Wait, where did my chat go? What the heck?
It's gone forever. You'll never have it ever again. I think we're where we need to be to continue talking about Ben Shapiro.
Okay. We're back to Ben Shapiro.
I got to react to this insanity from Senator Alex Padilla of California. Essentially, the story is that he went into the middle of a press conference with Kristi Noem, who's the Secretary of Homeland Security, and he basically just rushed in and started yelling at her questions, and security appears not to know who he is. About halfway through them grabbing him, he says that he's a senator from California, but they don't know him from Adam. It's not like he cleared his presence with security. So the video shows him being rushed out of the room while he's simultaneously yelling at Kristi Noem. They take him out, they put him on his stomach, they handcuff him. It's all very peaceful. They briefly detain him, and apparently he then got a meeting with Kristi Noem.
I'm just curious, like, what part of put you on your stomach and handcuffed you is very peaceful? I'm just trying to figure that part out.
Yeah, and also yelling what? Let's talk about that. Like, they're such like little pussies, man. They're like, oh my god, like he bum rushed her. Like, we don't know what he was holding at the time. Like, he could have had a nuke in his pocket, Like, we don't know. So, of course, we have to tackle him to the ground and restrain him.
Yeah, like, it's if I'm forcibly restraining you, it's not really peaceful.
No.
He literally.
I also want to.
He literally announced that he said, "I am Senator Alex Padilla, and I have questions for the secretary." That's what he said. Those are the words. What?
Do you want to know? So anytime I see videos of like police like restricting people's movement and putting them on the ground and saying stop resist and all this shit, especially when it happened with George Floyd, I made this point of which George Floyd was an extreme case, don't get me wrong, but like what I made the point was when it comes to police, they're just allowed to fucking restrain you like whenever for whatever reason with impunity. But when it comes to nurses, we learn how to restrain people properly. Do you know what that entails?
I am not familiar, but enlighten me.
So you're supposed to do it if you have 5 people. It's supposed to be a 5-point restraint with 1 person on each arm and 1 on the head. You hold them on the ground, and you only do this under 2 circumstances. 1, you have a direct order from the doctor, and he has a good reason for doing so, and you are allowed to question that order. The other reason is that person is a direct threat to themselves or to the people around them. You restrain them, and then after you do that, if they need to have continuous restraints, like being bound to the bed, you have to check them every I think it's like every 5 or 10 minutes to make sure that like they're fine, and you have to like tell the doctor like you have to check in with the doctor like every hour or so like that to make sure that the restraints are still necessary, because like the goal is to get them out of the restraints as soon as possible. Like it's really strict, and if you break any of that, like you can fucking lose your job.
Jesus.
Not the police though.
So it's also funny that while this was happening, the words that Christine Nome was saying were, "We aren't going away. We're staying here to liberate this city from the socialist." And the burdensome leadership that the government and the governor and this mayor have placed in this country, those do not sound like the words of a peaceful woman. Those sound like a fucking war cry.
Yeah, a deranged one, because it's like, what power do socialists have right now? I fucking wish, man.
Like, if socialists had
We'd be living
power,
in paradise.
we'd have unions. If socialists has power, we'd have guilds. If socialists actually had a semblance of power, we wouldn't have to make so many jokes about George Soros checks. We'd actually have checks.
If socialists had power, we wouldn't need unions.
Yeah, because then they would all just be co-ops. Like, if socialists had power, then big businesses as a concept would not be a thing. They would be worker co-ops.
It's just so silly. These people have no fucking idea what socialism is. It pisses me off.
Say it with me, class. Socialism is when the workers control the means of production. Oh,
I thought
sorry.
you were gonna do the joke.
Oh, yeah, the Richard Wolff joke. It's when the government does
socialism
stuff.
is when the government does stuff.
And when they do a lot of stuff, it's communism.
It's communism.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's that.
Yeah. Anyway.
In person, she later said, all he had to do was call my office, which is the proper answer. I'll explain what all this means, what this is all a part of, in just 1 second. First, again, don't miss a moment of the stories that matter. Become a Daily Wire Plus member for alert.
God fucking damn it! Stop stealing your fucking stuff. Subscribe to me and subscribe to Alec and give us money. Fuck this man.
True.
Don't fuck this man. Don't let him breed.
And buy my Etsy product. Yes,
buy his Etsy product and buy my Magic the Gathering playmat. Like, just buy stuff from us. I feel so skeezy when I plug, but I feel like I have to when Ben's here.
Oh, I don't. Buy my shit. It's great. It's all original made. This is my original pattern here. Okay, buy it. It's fantastic and it'll look great in your room. And he has wiggly arms and legs. I
feel very wrong now that I'm thinking about the words I said and how I said them. I don't want to talk about plugging near Ben Shapiro, not with this fucked up audience.
You can't have anything anymore. Every word's an innuendo. So fuck it.
Can't have shit in Detroit.
True.
Okay, back to BB Shmeeby. Fuck off.
Let's make all of that happen. So, anyway, back to Alex Padilla. Let's be clear. Democrats are all looking for attention right now. Everything is about attention seeking. If you think of
Yes, but that's because they're the politicians who aren't in power right now. But Ben is right about that. But it doesn't mean what he thinks it means. Attention is power. Politics is about power. Being in politics is you saying you have an idea of how the world should be shaped, and you would like power in order to shape the world that way. That's what politics is.
Yeah, like you have to be popular to be a good politician. If you're like, even dictators know that. Like, dictators are the most corrupt politicians in history, some of them. And even they knew, like even Hitler knew, like he had to keep a good face for the public. He couldn't just go say that he had Jewish death camps, you know, like you have to be popular with the people. So of course it's a popularity contest. It always is.
Democrats at this point as a series of 5-year-olds who are desperate for mommy's attention, then their behavior starts to make a lot more sense. Like a lot more sense. Whether it is Cory Booker filibustering for 24 hours for no reason whatsoever.
Ted Cruz filibustering for 18 hours talking about nothing but green eggs and ham. We can play this fucking my side does the bad thing and your side does the badder thing. We can play that fucking game, Ben. We can.
And the entire Democratic press going insane. Oh, look, he's a hero. He's a hero of the moment, shouting at President Trump, taking out his angry eyes. And then giving you the full Spartacus. Or whether you're talking about AOC and her fake arrests from a couple of years ago when she was putting her hands behind her back. Or whether you're talking about Alex Padilla today. The Democrats are solely reliant still on this idea that whoever resists Trump the most strongly wins. That all you have to do...
Hold on, can I pull something up real quick?
Yeah, by all means.
Just something to remind us of. Here, let's... I just need your opinion, because I'm not sure. Does this look like it's like attention-seeking spectacle to you at all, Suris? I'm just curious. Hold on, it's loading.
Yep. Loading up on...
I'm not sure.
What the fuck is that? Hold on.
You've never seen this?
No, I've never seen this. Hold on, let me...
What? No, pull this up expeditiously. So fucking funny. I forget where this was at.
What is that dollar bill doing there? What the fuck?
I don't know. I can't believe you never saw this. Marjorie Taylor Greene went into here, like this guy's acting like, I think this was I don't remember what this is in response of. Yeah, it's for the January 6th thing when they locked up all those violent rioters who tried to commit a coup. And this was like their response. Oh, boo-hoo. We couldn't even commit a coup without being arrested. Oh, we're being persecuted for our beliefs. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene went in and like knelt down in front of this guy and was like, You're special. You're such a special little boy, and I love you. And then gave him a little kiss on the cheek.
Like, this is obviously not in a fucking prison cell, too, because...
Is this TOS because of the feet? Put them piglets away.
The only person
People pay for that shit.
The only person who thinks it's TOS because of feet doesn't make political content on the internet anymore. But, so, Jesus fucking Christ. I had not...
I'm just pointing out, though. Yeah.
I think I've memory hold this. Paige says, I think this was an art performance piece. Yeah, basically, but, like, this is the thing that you do for attention. This is the thing you do for attention.
My point.
Like, this is a spectacle. Ben Shapiro doing this whole, like, the Democrats do this because it's a spectacle and they need the spectacle. Ben! Politicians do the spectacle thing all the fucking time. That's what they do.
I'll give you a legitimate example, though. I'll give you a legitimate example, though, of people on the left doing things for attention. The what was it? The people who threw the bowls of soup at the Van Gogh painting.
Mm.
Yeah. That was for attention. But what was it for attention for? What was their message? That we're fucking up our entire planet. and we're going to die. I think that's a pretty good message we want attention on, you know?
Axo says, wasn't the whole parade for attention? Yes!
That too. Great example. Very topical example.
The whole
Which it
parade
didn't get
was
very
for
much
attention,
attention, to be honest.
It's
funny
the
that.
same thing. It's the
My
same
country.
thing.
Yeah. Both sides are in a constant struggle for attention. Like, that is true. But to say that only the Democrats do it is very silly.
Also, there's a friend of mine on Facebook who's saying the No Kings protests were dumb because we'll never have a king. And, like, congratulations, you've just called the North Korea a democratic nation. You did the thing where you argue with the title of a thing instead of the spirit of it. Congrats. That was a weird thing.
Don't worry, bro. We've reached the end of history. America will never be a monarchy because I said so, and it's a very special place.
New things never happen.
New things never happen.
No, nothing ever happens.
Nothing ever happens. There
Nothing
you go.
ever happens. Nope.
Yep.
Nothing ever happens.
Just yell at Orange Man bad and yell at members of the Orange Man bad cabinet, and that will somehow result in a magical victory for Democrats. I don't know what they're thinking. They've tried this now for a full decade. If your strategy isn't working after a full decade, you might want to try a different strategy.
Strategy worked with Joe Biden. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I also think that the Orange Man bad strategy is stupid. I think it's hilariously stupid because you need to offer people something other than not being the thing. This is why I'm trying to help Clarence with his campaign here in District 14, because our other Democrat, we have two Democrats who are fighting each other in the primary to go against Marjorie Taylor Greene. One of those Democrats is effectively doing the Marjorie Taylor Greene bad so vote for me strategy, whereas Clarence right now is kind of trying to undermine that and being like, hey, I'm the guy who's friendly with the DSA. I'm the guy who wants single-payer healthcare. Like, these are the initiatives I want, as opposed to just going, I'm not Marjorie Taylor Greene. And, like, obviously there's some mudslinging at Greene that's happening, too, because it's the easiest thing in the world to do. But I agree that the platform, other person bad, is not a good platform. But also to say it's never worked is to ignore the Biden campaign.
Yeah, and it has worked. You're right. The point that Ben Shapiro is making is that it's not working anymore, which is not true. But I do think there's something to be said that the tides have shifted and it's not enough anymore. Because people are fucking tired of just being the not as bad guy. Like, they're tired of voting for the not as bad guy. Yes. They're just like done with it. So like, I think the Majority Report was making a point about this. Like, the Democrats have wanted for a long time to just be the part. Like, they just want to be the party that is just good enough that you will vote for them. They don't want to go beyond that. So they'll just point at the other guy and say, look, he's worse. You have no choice. So
and it is a strategy that is true, but nobody wants to fucking argue for that. Nobody wants to come to bat for that.
It's demoralizing. It's like, I would rather I would rather die with dignity under the boot of fascism almost. This isn't me personally, but like, there is an element of I would rather just say fuck you. I'm not taking that than taking that. Like, it makes you want to not vote for them after a certain point. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Alex Padilla, of course, can get all sorts of attention. Democrats are saying things like, well, if Alex Padilla can be arrested, if he can be detained, what could happen to you? Well,
yeah, that's been a message that has been consistently brought out a lot, because we've been talking about immigrants who have been deported, people who aren't even fucking immigrants being thrown back to countries that they didn't fucking come from. Like, we're dealing with this shit everywhere, going, hey, if these people don't get due process, then why the fuck do you think you get due process? Like, yeah, that is the message. I don't see a problem with that message.
Yeah, if they can fucking tackle a sitting politician to the ground for asking another politician a fucking question. What makes you think they can't do that to you? It's exactly the point. Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't know. What would happen to me if I rushed into the middle of a press conference with Kristi Noem and no one knew who the hell I was and I started yelling at her? What do you think would happen to me? The same thing that would happen to you. The same thing that would happen to Alex Padilla. Unless you are recognized when you walk in, they are going to arrest you, probably. At the very least, they're going to remove you from the room because she's the Secretary of Homeland Security in an incredibly tense and fraught situation.
Yeah, no questions allowed, ever. Because, like, when he went into the room and started trying to speak, she just started speaking over him louder as he was getting removed.
Yeah, I personally, I thought we lived in a democracy, but I guess not. Oh, sorry. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. Totally different tangent, but I'm so tired of fucking hearing that. But anyway, I was always under the impression that we lived in a democracy is my point.
Yeah.
I guess not.
It's such a bizarre move by the Democrats to sort of treat this as though this is Tiananmen Square. The tanks are running over the protesters. The tanks are running over Alex Padilla. Gavin Newsom is a resistance hero. Gavin Newsom is the governor of the...
Wait, they were trampling protesters with horses.
Yes.
They were doing that. You might as well go to the tanks. Like, a fucking horse it can also kill you. Like, yeah, it may be more viscerally, like, visually concerning when a tank does it, sure, but, like, a horse can still fucking kill you. You know, put the animal abuse aside, a horse does not want to kill you, but if the police whips it enough, I guess it will. But, like, yeah, they literally were running over protesters. That is a thing that happened. We have video evidence of it, Ben Shapiro. What? Anyway.
Fourth largest economy on planet Earth. The most populous state in America. Gavin Newsom is not some sort of victim. His state has been run quite poorly. 1.5 million net citizens have left California since 2019. People in California have massive cost of living issues. Like, for a middle-class family, average cost of living issue?
That you don't want to fix.
Ben, question, just question for point of order. Why does cost of living go up, Ben? Under what system is housing a commodity that has to be bought and sold like stock? Hey, Ben, just out of curiosity, why does cost of living go up, Ben?
It's because of those damn immigrants.
It's got to be. It can't be a thing that happens because of a particular system. No. The culprit can't be the system.
No, it's not. It's not the system. Don't look at the system. Avert. What does the wizard say in the Wizard of Oz?
Avert your eyes from the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Ben.
$26,000 more than the average across the rest of America. But somehow, he's a resistance hero. Why? Because Trump sent federal forces into LA, and now he gets to claim that he is standing up to the man. Well, again, I just don't understand why Democrats believe that this is the winning message. All Americans want at this point is normalcy. That's all they want. There's a fascinating graphic that people have been trafficking around that shows sort of the ideological diversity within the two parties. And it shows on the one end, Democratic
pause
Party
for a sec.
and the ideology.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Americans do not want normalcy. If they did, they'd vote Democrat.
They're the most party of normalcy shits in the world.
Yeah, we would have had a swarm of people voting for Kamala Harris. They don't want normalcy. They want change. It is actually detrimental to be an incumbent now. It used to be a benefit. That is a strong indicator that we are thirsty for change. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, most people do not want normalcy. Most people... Well, so here, let me rephrase that. Most people do want normalcy. I actually can side with Ben on this. Most people do want normalcy. However, the question has to be, what is their definition of normalcy? Because my definition of normalcy is being able to wake up in the morning, knowing where your meal is going to come from, and not having to panic about it. My definition of normalcy is waking up in the morning, knowing where my medication is going to come from, and not having to panic about it. My definition of normalcy is waking up knowing that my friend who's been here on a visa is not going to disappear tomorrow. That's my definition of normalcy. Being able to afford to live and be happy and keep the people I love around me. That's my definition of normalcy. I want to return to that. And in that, I agree with Ben Shapiro. But to return to something like that, we need radical change in order to get to that. The problem with the Democratic Party for years has been that they do not enact radical change. They watch the status quo shift, and then they work to maintain it. What's supposed to happen in the natural progression of a society is that the progressive ideas wrench everybody forward into the future, and then a group of people say this is going too fast, and they try to slow it down. And that's why they're called fucking conservatives. But we have
point at a time in history. Sorry.
No, you go on. Sorry.
I was going to say, point at a time in history when conservatives have been the good guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
Just saying.
the fact of the matter is, we have inverted things so hard because we are no longer, and we haven't been for a long time, in a world where progressives try to move the world in one direction and conservatives try to halt it. We are in a world where conservatives try to regress everything and the so-called progressives try to halt it, which means the only place we can go is things getting worse.
All the way down to our fucking science and medicine. Like, it pervades the society. It's a cancer.
17 members of the vaccine panel getting fired and replaced with nuts. That's not
17 nuts,
normalcy.
you got one missing.
What's up?
Nothing.
Oh.
I said 17 nuts, you got one missing.
Yeah, his name's RFK.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say, why is it an odd number of nuts?
Because they're nuts from the squirrels from the PSP commercials. What you playing? I'm playing nuts.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Really? Hold on.
If I did, I'm not recognizing it. Okay, well,
I'm sorry, Ben. I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro.
Stop, some of that fan art lore is against TOS as well.
Shut up, me. Hold on. I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro, that we have to take a small break from you.
We have more important things to look at.
We do. We do.
18 years? Jesus.
Come out and play! I can't! I'm playing Nut! But there's Portable Nut! What? Yeah! It's a nut you can play with outside!
PSP. It's like a nut you can play with outside.
I never saw that.
You've never seen those commercials?
Nope, I've never seen it.
My feed is...
He's very offended at having been captured.
Food, Hank Green, card games, and politics. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sorry, I was tending to my cat. Anyway.
Logical diversity is extremely narrow. So all of these sort of various ideological perspectives are very closely knit together. And on the right, you have a much broader sort of network. And so the right looks like it's much bigger and much broader and covering a lot more ground because you have people who are pro-life and people who are pro-choice. You have people who are pro-free markets and anti-free markets. The right looks really big right now, and the left looks really small because the left has decided that its only point of commonality is saying mean things about the system and saying mean things about Trump. If you do
You're being mean.
What?
You're being mean to the system. No. No. I cannot believe you said mean things about capitalism. That's so mean.
Like, I don't think that that's even accurate, though. Like, yeah, you
I don't
gotta...
either. It's like the people he's talking about, the Democrats. When have they ever, besides like the progressive Dems, obviously, like, but even AOC, like, I don't even ever think she's ever publicly stated that like capitalism is a problem or like critiqued the system. Like, she's critiqued the system, but like said mean things about it. Like, that's not what the Democrats do.
Like, the Democrats, by and large, yes, their platform right now is beat Trump. But if you look at the Bernie and AOC parades, rallies that have been happening, a lot of their conversation is about raising people up. A lot of the conversation hasn't been Trump bad, look at us, we're better. It's been, let me sell you on an idea of a brighter future. That's been the idea. Now, granted, you obviously have other establishment Dems like Chuck Schumer, and then you've got fucking dinos like what's his face? Dude who always votes Republican on fucking bills despite having a D. I can't remember his name.
I know who you're talking about. Somebody in chat knows.
Yeah, like somebody in chat definitely is gonna know on that one.
Or that one chick, the one chick who like no, not Fetterman. Or the one chick who was the bisexual chick who like did the quirky thumbs down to feeding children or something.
Oh, Manchin, Joe
Kirsten
Manchin.
Cinema.
Yeah,
Joe Manchin and
Joe
Kirsten
Manchin and Cinema. And but the thing is, even with Joe Manchin and Cinema not being there, that spirit is still there. You still have people who are doing that shit because, yeah, you have Joe Manchin and Cinema not there, but you had Fetterman move further to the right.
Yeah,
you had Fetterman,
his, brain damage.
You had Fetterman abandon his fucking base in Philadelphia. Like, you have a handful of people who are okay. But even when I've gone to like town hall stuff here, Nikema Williams had an army of Democrats at her town hall, and every fucking one of them was pissed at her. There is a lot of like anger and anxiety towards establishment Dems right now, and we identify a lot of those establishment Dems, Schumer being probably one of the ones that most people know right now. Like Schumer and Fetterman are probably highest on that list for a lot of people of like their shit list of establishment Dems. But the reason that you have that shitting on them is because, unlike what Ben Shapiro thinks, there is a broad idea of what politics should look like on the quote left. I say quote because it's hard to call Schumer a leftist. He's not.
The American left.
Yeah, the American left. Like, there is a broad spectrum of ideas here, but not every idea has hold, and that is a fault of the Democratic Party, because we don't have proper socialists in the Democratic Party at large. We have a few Democratic socialists. We have AOC, we have Bernie, we've got the Squad by extension, but what we don't have is, like, we don't have a proper, honest-to-God, proletariat rise up socialist. We just don't have one of those. And then when and that's just one flavor of leftism. What about an anarchist? What about an anti-hierarchy anarchist? We don't have one of those. We don't have a communist. We don't have a guild unionist. We don't have any of that shit in our politics. But those ideas exist in the left. They do. A syndicalist. We don't have a syndicalist.
For a long time, it was illegal to run as a communist.
Correct. The Red Scare never ended. The only thing that ended about the Red Scare was us losing the guy who was holding the biggest pitchfork. But the Red Scare never fucking ended. Joe McCarthy may have been the guy with the pitchfork, but the ideas of it never disappeared.
Yep. Diarrhea forever.
Everything is poop.
Do that, then they'll let you get away with most anything. But if you don't do that, then you get away with pretty much nothing. Well, if you only have one point of commonality, then of course you're going to end up a very, very small ideological party. That's not great for the country. The truth is that as the Democratic Party eventually learns that this is a very stupid strategy, and they move away from just yelling at Trump full time as their strategy, they're going to have to come back to something that resembles normalcy. President Trump has moved the Overton window so far on immigration that we're now arguing over whether we ought to deport all illegal immigrants or just many illegal immigrants. That is an argument that lives in Trump.
Yeah, that actually is true.
And Alex Padilla can yell about that as much as he could possibly want. He's not going to win that argument. I still don't know what the Democrats are really yelling about here.
So, like, at this point, actually, Ben Shapiro's right. At this point, I hate to say it, he's correct. The Democrats don't have a platform.
Yeah. And in as far as they do, it's just conservative light.
Yeah. Like, it's not a platform of hope. It's not a platform of change. It's a platform of, let's go back to how things were a year ago. That's what it is.
And they're going to do that every year. So, you know, it's like a year ago, it was like, well, let's just go back to where we were a year ago, where like we weren't, you know, like the Democratic platform in 2020 was like, Trump is going to build, like trying to build a fucking wall, which is psychotic and stupid, which they were correct on, you know? And then in 2024, Biden's like, wow, Jack, I built more wall than Trump ever did. It's like, what? Wait, no, that wasn't the deal. What? It's just, he's right about the Overton window. No, make no mistake.
Yeah, the Overton window has shift further right. And the Overton window shifting further right means that we have to have a more concerted effort in pulling it left.
Yep.
There are multiple things that are being posited. You have Democrats yelling that it's about a violation of due process. Okay, show me the person whose due process has been violated, and then file a lawsuit, and that person's case will be taken up before a court, and then presumably...
No, don't even fucking lie, you dumb-ass motherfucking bitch tits. Ben, there was a whole fucking back and forth with Kilmar Abrego Garcia about who actually could get him out of his cell. Trump said, I can't do it. We may have fucked up, but I can't do it. And then the Trump administration started bringing everything they could to say that actually they were justified after saying they weren't justified. And then leader of the country he was detained in, or not detained in, but leader of the country he was being prisoned in, said, oh, well, I don't have the authority to get him out of the jail cell. Everybody
Nobody
just
has
fucking...
any accountability here.
Yeah.
We're just little birthday boys. You don't get it. Like, oh, there's a man suffering right now, being tortured in a high security prison with like actual gang members who want to fucking kill him. Like, oh, I mean, I'm just a little birthday boy. I can't do anything about that. I'm Donald Trump, or I'm whatever the fuck the other guy's name is. What's his name again? You remember?
I don't remember. I memory hold it.
Yeah. Whoever's in charge there, that fucker. None of them want to take any accountability. But yeah, more to the point, we have names. You know, Abrego Garcia is not alone. He's just like the most prominent one. There was that gay barber who got locked up there.
Yep.
What's his name?
Again, do not remember.
That's fine. You guys don't know who I'm talking about.
Too much shit going on all the time.
Yeah.
Cindy Vela says...
We only have so much brain space.
Cindy Vela says the Overton window BS is sold to convince you to give a fuck about the right when you get into power. Just end it all now. So, Cindy, I hate to tell you this, but the Overton window as a concept is nothing more than an observation. If I said the statement, there is a certain amount of things that are considered politically normal to talk about, that would be a nothing burger statement. But as soon as I put the name on it, the Overton window, then you'll end up having a problem with it. The Overton window is not some magical thing that does or does not exist. It's just a name given to an observation of what is considered indecorum or not in politics or in everyday life. That concept exists.
Yeah, it's a simplified way of describing a concept so that we don't have to constantly say like the current political atmosphere or whatever. Like it's the same thing as saying the Overton window.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's not
yeah.
some magical thing that I'm appealing to. It is an observable concept that I can call anything else. But people are sick of hearing the term Overton window because they're familiar with the term. So they're going to want something like cheek and different and, oh, that's a different concept. No, it's all the same fucking concept. All of it's the same concept. The observable things in our politics and everyday life that are considered normal or normal enough.
Well, we need something Zoomerify the term Overton window.
Overton
I was trying to think of a good joke. Skibbity, yeah, the Overton skibbity. Good job.
Yeah, it's the Overton skibbity. Like I can call it the window of discourse, because that's what it is. It is just
politics Riz meter.
The political Riz meter. Yes, it's no longer the Overton window. It's the political Riz meter. That's what it is.
Skibbity Riz. The skibbity Riz meter. There you go.
Give me a second.
You're good.
The Overton Omegaverse. Nope. Furry detected.
Omegaverse.
And that's how the process works.
Furry?
And then you have people who are...
The Omegaverse is the alpha, beta, omega speculative subgenre of fiction where humans get categorized like animals.
Oh. Okay. Like, okay, alpha, beta.
What if humans were pack animals?
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
I see what you're getting at.
It started as a thing in the supernatural fandom. Stop says, hey, the Omegaverse isn't just furry. All right, cool. So, like, that's like saying if I kill somebody and shit on their corpse and rub my foot in it until it pierces through their stomach, when somebody says, but he killed a guy, if I were like, I also desecrated a corpse, like, it doesn't make the words I said incorrect. It just means there's a scope of degeneracy that I've ignored.
That's funny. I'll have to learn more about this Omegaverse.
Said Axo says Omegaverse is a yaoi and yuri thing. It's a lot of things in degenerate fandoms. It's a lot of things.
I'll see if Katie knows about it. She writes fan fiction.
Yelling that it's some sort of fascistic imposition for the Trump administration.
Also, saying it's not a furry thing when it started with fucking werewolves, I see you, don't even. I had to learn about this shit because of you. None of you are sinless. Jassa says you have an interesting mind going to murder and defecation. Hey, what can I say?
Hand in hand.
This shit's killer.
Good job. Killing makes me have to poop.
Lexa Kitty, thank you for redeeming your points for an you fucking degen.
Administration to try to enforce federal law. The American people don't believe that. They don't believe that at all. And now you have Democrats claiming that Donald Trump is in the middle of an authoritarian takeover of America because Alex Padilla got manhandled by security who didn't know who.
No, Ben, no, you beautiful, stupid little boy. No. Nobody is saying that we have an authoritarian government because Alex Padilla got manhandled for being too loud at a Kristi Noem conference. No. That's one of, like, 100 things. It's one of those things where, like, you know how Umberto Eco has 14 points. I mean, there's more than that. There's more to fascism than that, but it usually gets boiled down to 14 points of fascism, right?
Yes.
So, that's like saying, you're only saying Donald Trump's a fascist because of point 12, whatever the fuck point 12 is. I don't remember what it is. Now I'm gonna have to do this. 14 points of fascism. Fascism. There
It's
we
one
go.
symptom.
That's like somebody going, he's not a... You're just saying he's a fascist because he appeals to social frustration. That's point 6. You're just saying that because he appeals to social frustration. And, like, every politician does that. And you just have to respond with, no, Jeremy. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking about the obsession with the cult of tradition, the rejection of modernism, the cult of action for action's sake, the fact that he thinks disagreement is a form of treason, the fear of difference he appeals to. Yes, the appeal to social frustration, the obsession with a plot, the obsession with the enemy being both strong and weak, pacifism being seen as trafficking with the enemy, contempt for the weak, you know, his whole shit about the military being comprised of losers when they didn't come back from the war, all of that shit, all of it, the selective populism, the way he wields machismo as a form of weaponry, and trying to get everybody on board with this idea that all of them individually are heroes, and that's why they have so many fucking tip lines right now, so that you can be a hero. That's all it is. So when somebody tells me you don't like him because of one thing, no, it's several, fucking Duke.
Imagine you go to the doctor and the doctor is like, listen, you have lung cancer. And you're like, oh, you just think that because I coughed a little while ago.
And he's just like,
no,
he's just like, well, Alec, it is lung cancer, so just so you know, that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, it's like, no, actually, when you coughed, a bunch of blood came up, and also we have an x-ray showing the mass, and also you're a lifetime smoker, and also you have headaches and lost a bunch of weight recently, and it's like, like you can sit there and be like, oh, well, you just think I have lung cancer because I coughed once. That doesn't change the fact that the cancer is brewing and you're gonna fucking die. So, you know, okay. Facts don't care about your feelings, I thought, but, you know.
Who he was at the time. And by the way, just because he shouts that he's a senator, so what? I mean, so what? Is that showing ID? If you shout that you are a member of the cast and crew of a particular movie, does that mean you're not going to be removed from set? By the way, this sort of stuff happens all the time in public life. I remember just a few years ago, actually, I was doing an interview with Elon. This would have been the beginning of last year. I was with Elon at Auschwitz, and we did an interview in Krakow. And in the middle of the interview, there was some guy who's just kind of sitting in the back. We had no idea who he was. And we figured he was with Elon's team. Elon's team figured he was with us. And it turns out he was just some third-party guy who had sort of infiltrated the room. That's an actual security threat. That's a major, major problem. And so the idea that if you walk in shouting at a principal like Kristi Noem, that the FBI agents aren't going to remove you from the room until they can at least establish who you are, that's really silly. And again, this wasn't a press conference.
But did they just try to establish who he was, or did they manhandle him and handcuff him? Like, which one is it? Like, did they say, hey, sir, I'm going to need to see some ID? Or did they say, nope, get the fuck out of here? Which one was it, Ben?
They immediately, like, he came in and they immediately put hands on him. Like, no hesitation.
So Shapiro could see literal death camps being opened by Israel, and he'd still pretend that Israel isn't doing a genocide? Yep.
Really, this was Kristi Noem, who was speaking to the press, but it wasn't a press conference in the sort of formal, I'm taking questions from the press. It was a statement that she was reading to the press, essentially. And Alex Padilla came storming in. Listen, he got what he wanted. He got attention. But is that sort of attention going to help the Democratic Party? Not until they fix the underlying problem. And the underlying problem is, in fact, their immigration policy and their extremism. And if they believe that...
No. So this is like...
What's their immigration policy?
Ben is so close. He's so close to the right answer, and then he pivots away. I was sitting here like, man, Ben, I'm actually on board with you. None of this spectacle is going to mean anything unless the Democrats change their attitude, unless they change what they're doing. I'm so on board with you. And then you're like, they need to change their immigration policy? You mean the immigration policy that looks a whole lot like the Trump policy from 2020? You mean that one? Like because that's the immigration policy they were continuing.
Conservative.
Like the one of the criticisms about
crazy.
Biden is he didn't close any of the fucking camps. He kept doing it.
This is my thing. When the fuck are Democrats going to be like, you know what? It really doesn't matter what we say about immigration. They're always going to say that we have a fucking open border policy, even if we're sitting here literally sending legal migrants out of the country against their will. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, at a certain point...
Like, they might as well just fucking say they're socialists at this point.
At a certain point, you may as well just, like, they're going to accuse you of all the left-wing shit anyway. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it.
There are people in my life who have called Biden a communist.
How?
That's insane. That's insane.
Like, in what fucking way?
Open border. He literally bragged about building more wall than Trump did. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Jesus. These people.
Counter-signaling Trump is somehow a victorious strategy. Well, good luck to them. We'll see you on tomorrow's show. I'll have much more.
Okay, well, that's all he got. Cool. That's all there was there. We did it. We got through it.
We did.
It's crazy.
Can we talk
it's
about
like
Dragon Ball again?
Can we talk about You know what? we had more fun talking about Dragon Ball. We did. We did.
No, but in all seriousness, though, like again, it's not just this one instance of one of our fucking senators being detained for asking a fucking question. Yeah, that was a symptom, and we pointed to that and said, yeah, this is fucked up, and that shouldn't have happened. But like, look at the bigger picture, man. We're sending legal migrants out of the country to fucking, for all we know, it's a death camp. We don't know what goes on there in El Salvador. Trump has already he's talked about fucking opening back up, what's the place called?
Guantanamo Bay?
Guantanamo Bay, which isn't even a fucking prison anymore. Like, he's insane. And yet, like, no, we're just like, we're boo-hooing about nothing, I guess, or something. And, oh yeah, and let's not forget blackbagging people for saying that Palestine shouldn't be, bombed. Colleges literally like not giving people diplomas. People being run over by horses at these protests because like migrants, like their neighbors are being shipped out of the fucking country. Like, yeah, it's here. Okay, it's here. This is just the beginning. I don't think there's currently a way to be hyperbolic about what's happening.
Also, Sakura, during Obama's administration, he issued requests for Gitmo to be basically shut down by the end of the year. Like, that is a thing that ended up happening. Let's see here. Instructional transfer goes to. It doesn't mean that the entire thing got shut down, but Gitmo as it exists was in a severely reduced state compared to what Trump wants it to be. That said, yeah, I think talking about Dragon Ball was way more fun.
I do too.
Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.